What's going on, guys? Tsubasa here, back with another video. And today we're going to be doing an entry like always. But first, I forgot to show some drawings from the previous entry because I was sad making those ones. Without further ado though, let's get into these drawings. This one I call Heist. It's from February 26th of 2025. And it's a group of 3 guys about to make plans to rob a casino. The guy in the front kind of looks like Cruelty Squad's main character. I haven't played the game, but I've watched Pyro's video on it, so you know I know everything about the game. This guy right here is kind of wearing like a disco-esque like suit, and the guy in the back is a little bit more tribal. And what is being said by each of the characters? The guy in the front says, "This casino can be all ours." The second guy says, "Okay, but how are we gonna deal with security?" And then the last guy is looking at the casino machine, and he says, "What is that?" Because he is not from this place. He doesn't know what technology is half the time. But he's got good deductive skills and a very good criminal record for pulling off a heist in a casino. Despite never being in a casino, because otherwise you'd think he'd know what a slot machine is. Anyway, the next one I have is from February 27th of 2025, and it's another one of my designer ads that I made. And this one is a guy leaning in the bed, looking up at the camera. At first, I messed up the face. I still think I don't have the face down quite right, because he's supposed to be like this. And so I kind of squashed his forehead when I still think it could have been prolonged a little bit. But you can kind of see it's supposed to be a Gucci ad. He's just laying on a bed. And then he's got his shoes down there. His Gucci slides. So, with those out of the way, let's get right into today's entry. One thing that... Oh, and by this way, this entry is on February 28th, 2025. One thing that I think I'm going to start doing is moving on from a social mistake by doing nothing. You see, whenever I say or do something that's a little too TMI and not beneficial to those around me, I need to let it brush past me. The reason for this action is because yesterday I was talking to 2 of my students about books and brought up American Psycho. One of the comments I made about the book was not well thought out and was very out of pocket. When something like this happens, I usually try to apologize after the fact, or I try to say it's just a joke, but that still won't remove the fact that I said what I said. So, if I just never mention it again, then I won't be dragging myself through the mud, nor reminding those involved of what I said. And I haven't said anything about it, and it seems like everything is just continuing as planned, which is normal, which is great. I love it. American Psycho is also a really good book. If you watch the movie and haven't read the book, I highly encourage reading the book. It's way more crazy and interesting. Another reason for this change is because also yesterday I saw a cute girl and stared a little too much in her direction. She then sat next to what I presume is her boyfriend. While listening to Kendrick Lamar's album GNX, I happened to overhear this woman say to the guy that she'd like to move spots because she thought I was staring at her. Now, the impulsive me would have waited until our paths crossed to clear up the air, but I think doing nothing is a better alternative. It's her problem, not mine, and I think realistically, talking to her to clear up the air is a little weird. I also recognize that I have an ego, and I'm only now trying to put it down. I'm maturing. So, that's the end of that entry. And, yeah, so far nothing's happened. I haven't been labeled by this person as weird because I didn't go up to them and talk to them. It's like, oh my gosh, I should let people deal with their problems if they make a problem out of nothing that just so happens to involve me. And so nowadays, and relating this to Lent with my other couple of videos that I've had, this also ties into trying to cut out my impatience, because my impatient side is like, oh my gosh, I need to apologize. I need to make sure everything's like totally blah blah blah. That, everything's cleared. My name's cleared. But the thing is if I really take a second to think about it, if I do nothing and everything continues as normal, that means one, the thing I said didn't really carry much weight and nobody cares. And two, that nothing's going to happen. I'm not going to bring it up again. And my conscience can rest earlier. And so trying to catch myself, like slow down when it comes to my thinking and when I talk to people, is something that I'm really focusing on. And when writing this is another step in which I'm like, oh my gosh, I could have like totally thought about what I was about to do or say before, just straight up doing it. So yeah, I'm glad I'm kind of catching these things right now, and at least looking at it from a more analytical perspective, seeing what are the actual benefits of not doing anything. So I'm glad that nothing has come out of me not doing anything, because I feel like had I tried to apologize for making a out-of-pocket comment, they'd be like, why are you apologizing for it? Why are you bringing it back in my head? It's like unnecessary. It's not like unnecessary, it is unnecessary. And I also mentioned at the very end how it is kind of an ego thing. And for me, I say that because I feel like if I'm apologizing for every little thing that I'm saying that just sounds either weird or out of context, then I am very insecure about how people look at me, which is one of my insecurities. I do think about how other people view me. And that is why I'm very conscious about how I look physically. Like, for me, one of my biggest insecurities is like, what does it look like underneath my chin? Because I don't want to make it look like I don't have any like a jawline. I want to have a decent jawline. And a lot of that comes down to lighting and fitness, though, and that's why I've been making sure to work out and run more as of late. In fact, I'm going to try and go for a run tomorrow morning. But it's not the unspoken things. It is the spoken things that also can show my insecurities, like trying to apologize for something that doesn't need to be apologized for. And so I say like so much in order to not say it's crazy. And anyhow or anywho, I say those a lot. Back to the main focus. Doing nothing can sometimes be the best solution, because it means that things can just continue as is, and you shouldn't have to worry, and I shouldn't have to worry about what other people think, because if they want to think some way about me, that's their problem. It's not mine. For instance, I could be very, very nice to you and show you, my set of manners and my personal moralities and whatnot. But you might think different of me if you didn't know me, and you made this problem because I was just staring in your direction a little too much. You'd be like, why is this guy staring at me? Like, this guy's a creep. Like, this guy doesn't realize what he's doing. He's staring in my direction without saying anything or making any contact. That socially is just weird. Whereas I'm just like looking in your general direction. Like, I'm not looking at you. I'm like looking past you. So it really does become a them problem. And I have to remember that it's not a me problem. It's when I make it a me problem that my ego comes out. With that being said, I'm going to end it here. I'm going to make another video, and then it'll be posted later. So, peace.